Happy
What's up, everyone?
Oh, I was gonna say happy Halloween,
Happy
everyone.
Halloween.
Even though it's not Halloween yet, it's next week, but we're gonna pretend. Anyways, if you are listening to this on the podcast, you may not realize, but me and Sam are going to be releasing this as a YouTube video. So go check out YouTube. Anyways, if you want to know our costumes, which by the way, we don't know what we're wearing. We don't know each other's outfits. I'm hoping by the time we're on the camera, my makeup's not smeared, but I thought me and Sam would do a reveal.
All right.
Ready?
Ready?
Wait, first off, can I just say, I don't know if my camera's in frame because I literally just said, let's go, and put my camera up. So let me turn it. Ready?
Yeah.
Wait, how do you do this? Oh, I see.
You just press the little camera.
Yeah.
Struggle bus. We don't do cameras.
Okay, ready? One,
Ready?
two, three.
Ah! I love it. Listen, I didn't think this through. Like my ears do not fit.
Yes.
My headphones. So I have like one out so that way like my ear can sit out, and then the other one's like I probably should take this out because it literally is low key like squishing my head.
Yes. By the way, please let's explain each other's explain your costume. What is your costume?
So I attempted for an elf, although you can't really like there's more to it, and it's kind of funky now because I'm sitting down.
Yes.
I'm pushing the corset forward, and then I got my little ears. They're very fun, and then I got this. I had a headpiece too, but headphones, so headpiece doesn't fit.
Yeah. I am. Can you guess what I am?
Are you a bat?
I am a bat. Hence the ears.
I love it.
And can everyone please appreciate, because this is going to come off, my thanks.
Love it.
Let me just say right now that I didn't know what I was going to be. I almost was a princess, and I was like, well, I don't know if I should be a princess. And then my friend had given me this costume a while ago. She actually, funny enough, she did a whole fashion show in this costume for me. She was very dramatic about it. And she gave it to me because she was like, oh, it doesn't fit me right. And so while I was digging through all my costumes, because every year I have to go all out, I found this one. I was like, a bat. Why not?
Right.
So I am a bat. And yeah, and also I don't know, are bat noses like this? I couldn't figure it out. So we were like,
I knew what you were. I figured it out. It's fine.
Am I a vampire or am I a bat? By the way, you're gonna keep on seeing me doing this because this is fun.
I got some,
cute!
I got some belt sleeves and it technically it has leggings and stuff.
Oh, cute!
But, I mean, we're sitting in front of a computer, so you know.
Yeah, you don't see that.
I just took the ear off because I'm like I can't.
Oh, is that the ear?
Yeah, I can't handle the pokiness right now.
Oh, is it like right there?
Yeah, especially like an earring, and then it has like a piece that holds over your ear. So, and they're not heavy or anything, which I was shocked because I thought the style of it was going to be really heavy. But it's not. It works. It's fun.
Okay. I was trying to figure out where to put my ears, but they're just gonna be like right there. Anyways.
I can pretend I'm Dracula.
I feel like, oh my god, you're Dracula on the bat. We go together. Anyways, this is our yearly Halloween episode. Last year, we decided to dress up, tell spooky stories, and we're going to do it again. Last year, I dressed up like Shigo from Kim Possible. You dressed up like what was it? It was like was it a witch?
Pumpkin.
Was it pumpkin? I thought for some reason you dressed up like a witch. I don't remember. Or was it like
a witch? I can't remember. Was it I know 1 year I was a pumpkin.
Yeah, you were a pumpkin 1 year. But anyways, we tell each other spooky stories. And sometimes they are spooky, sometimes they are funny, and we don't know what each other are talking about. And let me just say, Sam, I had a mental breakdown yesterday. I think you could tell in text message because we don't know what each other are talking about. And I thought for certain that Sam was going to be talking about the same thing I was going to talk about. If so, I have another backup story.
Yeah. Well, we already clarified because I gave her like a piece of... Not a piece of my story, but like a detail that would differentiate between both our stories. And I said, if it doesn't have this in it, then you're probably good. And I was like, no.
I don't think it does, but we will. You never know. You never know.
I highly doubt it because the primary part of my like thing is like that story.
Yeah.
Or that part of the story.
Sorry. Okay. Well, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
You're ready? Okay, you go first. I'm ready
Okay.
for the. Wait. Before we start, can I just show? I was gonna make myself hot cider,
Okay.
but the grocery store never had hot. How does a grocery store not have hot cider? And then when I asked the man there, I was like, "Do you have cider?" He's like, "I have apple juice. You could heat up." No.
No.
But I had to go to a special go, and of course I already opened this because I'm hungry. Candy corn
Yeah,
to
candy
eat.
corn.
Well, actually, I'm not going to eat it in case people don't want to hear me eat it. But I want to show I brought candy corn to our spooky story. Okay,
There you go.
so
I brought Coke Zero.
woo! I brought
Wait. You know what I
also
have?
water.
You know what I have? I have my Harry Potter chocolates.
Oh, cute!
That were
What's
that were
inside them?
they were. It's just regular chocolate.
Okay.
But like each one has. Hold on, I'll show you. Actually, I low key got these for Christmas last year, and I just like eat on them slowly. But
Yeah.
I can't tell if you can tell what that is, but it says like that Happy Birthday
Oh,
Harry, like
cute.
the
Cute.
like the birthday cake, and then it says it's Leviosa, not
Oh,
Leviosa,
cute.
and just
It's
they're
like
fun.
all
Yeah, all like Harry
fall
Potter references and
things.
stuff. And then I think I got like someone gave me like a whole like box of chocolate that was like Harry
Yeah.
Potter stuff. And I think that's the end of it. Like I've been eating on it for a year. So that tells you how fast I'm
Yeah.
going through it. And I think I have two, I don't know where it is. It's like a candy cane, but it's like a Harry Potter candy cane with like more
Yeah.
stuff in it. I don't know. It's ridiculous. I'm too
I
much
love this
chocolate.
for you.
So
Yeah. I
like
get it. I get it.
during podcast episodes, I have been slowly eating on this chocolate.
I love that. Well, I'm excited to hear your story. I'm praying
Okay.
it's not my story, so let's go.
It shouldn't be. Okay, so my story isn't like a spooky story or a scary story. I just found like that's not a fun story, but it's
Mhm.
about a girl who got murdered. Anyway.
Ooh, okay. Like a little
Okay.
true crime.
Yeah, actually it is definitely it's very true crime. Okay.
Okay.
So this story takes place about 2017, 2018.
Okay.
And this is the story of Haley Anderson, a college student from New York State who attended Bingham University nursing program, who was murdered. Dun, dun, dun.
Ooh.
So it says a straight A student. Haley's life was all planned out. She was preparing to graduate and begin a
Mhm.
job that she had secured in an emergency department back home. Her mom was excited for her to move back and was already planning her graduation party and ready to welcome her daughter back home. While at university, Haley had met another student, Kevin Ocampo, and they had began an on again, off again relationship during her time there. But according to Kevin, Haley didn't want to be tied down right away, and wanted a chance to feel freedom and be young before she started her new job and new life. According to an interview, with Kevin, he thought that he had that they would both be endgame, and was saying with the interview with CBS that he did love her and that they would end up together.
Okay.
Enter or
I'm already saying the boyfriend did it. Okay,
Okay.
sorry.
Enter Orlando, a fellow nursing student in Haley's program.
Ooh.
It is important to note that Orlando grew up in Miami and was a dual citizen between the US and Nicaragua.
Uh-huh.
And Haley didn't meet him until their fourth year of school when they happened to be at an off campus party at Kevin's apartment.
Uh-huh.
And ironically, Haley actually ended up introducing Kevin and Orlando, and the two of them hit it off so well that Kevin actually invited Orlando to pledge his fraternity. So Kevin stated that they tried to recruit people who they thought would get along well since they were both
Mhm.
from Hispanic backgrounds and the only two people who spoke Spanish that would be a good fit for him to join the fraternity. And it is also important to note that while Orlando was pledging the fraternity, Haley and Kevin were still together and not yet taken their break. So
Okay.
there's a lot. So
Okay.
once on their break, Orlando and Haley started getting close, and although Haley was very clear about not wanting to be in a committed relationship, her and Orlando had been seeing each other on again and off again through her fourth year.
Okay.
Because this fraternity had Kevin's back, they kicked Orlando out for sleeping with Kevin's girlfriend, even though they were in fact on a break. According to Haley's friends, Haley felt bad about Orlando getting kicked out of the fraternity. Eventually, Orlando started showing up to Haley's house and would sit on the porch and just smoke. When asking one of her friends how Haley would deal with it, they said that they would handle it instead of Haley because she was kind of like a nice person who really didn't like confront. She's kind of like me. Didn't like
Yeah.
confrontation. Just wanted everyone to
Yeah.
get along. Like
Wait,
whatever.
question. Kevin was the boyfriend that she
Kevin
had in
was
the
the
beginning.
original
Okay.
boyfriend,
And
and then
Orlando.
they went to a house party, and she introduced Kevin to Orlando, and Kevin and
Okay.
Orlando ended up becoming friends because they're both I guess
Yes.
Kevin is also of a Hispanic background,
Yes.
and they're like they became best buddies. And so Kevin and Orlando ended up becoming part of the same fraternity.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
Kevin and Haley decided to have a break, and Orlando's like, gonna slide on in and try my best to see what
Yeah.
happens. So they did, and they Orlando and Haley did end up hooking up, and because the fraternity didn't like that, they actually kicked Orlando out.
I mean, I
And then
get it, but also I
yeah, they
get
were
it.
they were out of
Okay.
like every time I kept reading through all the articles and stuff, I kept thinking Friends. It's like, but they were out of break.
Well, also, I feel like probably Kevin had more sway in the house, and he was
Yeah,
like,
I mean he brought
"Hey,
Orlando in,
yeah."
so
And also, I'd be mad too if I was dating someone and I brought this girl into my sorority, and we're on breaks, we're going through issues, and then she's dating him. Yeah, I'd be kind of upset too. Actually, no,
yeah,
never mind. I'd
yeah.
be upset.
Okay, so then like because Haley and Orlando had their thing, and then Haley was like, "We're gonna back off. We're
Yeah.
not gonna do this." Um, Orlando started just showing up at their house, just like smoking on their
Yes.
porch, and so the friends were like, nah, we'll take care of this because Haley doesn't want to take care of it because
Mm-hmm.
he needs to go away."
Mm-hmm.
So when interviewers asked why they thought Orlando kept showing up, they stated that they felt like he was obsessed and didn't want anyone else seeing Haley except him. Then
Okay.
there was the night that Orlando had a party at his apartment, and Kevin had gone over to Haley's to spend the night. And the next morning, they walked out to find all of Haley's tires had been slashed.
Okay.
So Kevin decided to push Haley to press charges, and Haley would not press charges on him because it would have been over $600 in damage. That would have been a felony, and it would have ruined his life and like gotten rid of his opportunity to be a nurse. Because once you're a felon, you can't become a nurse. So she's like, I'm just gonna let it go. This $600 worth of damage. We're not gonna worry about it,
Yeah.
and we're just gonna let bygones be bygones. I guess this was a
Yeah.
Snapchat that was like going around the campus.
Yeah.
Everyone knew that Orlando had slashed Haley's tires, and but she never pressed charges, so they just kind of let it go. So
Yeah.
fast forward 6 months later, all of a sudden Haley goes missing, and
Okay.
at first her friends thought nothing of it because I mean they live in the same house. Sometimes she just leaves, sometimes she goes to Kevin's house, sometimes whatever. She just
Yeah.
goes and does things. Um but they had realized that she hadn't been on social media all day, hadn't gone to Snapchat, wasn't on Facebook, nothing.
Mm.
And so they began asking questions. They also questioned the mom too as to why the mom didn't have any red flags going off. And apparently they kind of had a deal, like the mom only called Haley on Sundays and they really didn't talk to each other on the in between.
Mhm.
So the mom really didn't think anything of it because she hadn't heard from Haley because they'd already talked that previous Sunday. So they were like, all right, this is weird. We're going to track her phone. So they did.
Okay,
Got
can I just say right now? I have like the location of my friends.
yes.
And the minute that they don't respond, okay, side note, if you're listening to this and I have your location, you know who you are. When you don't text me back right away, I'm like, where are you? Or where's my little Sims right now?
Do you get that map and like go look for where people are?
Oh, no, I have like Life 360 with all my close
Oh,
friends, and
okay.
we have like our location on, which I don't care because I don't do anything sketchy. But whenever they don't respond back right away, I'm like, where's my Sims?
Where are my minions?
And then usually I'm just like, oh, they're probably sleeping, or oh, they're probably like, I don't know, not ignoring me, you know.
Right.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But that'd be my first thing I would do is like the first thing I would notice if you weren't like snapping me back or you weren't
Mm.
texting me back or doing like the normal things that you would usually do,
Yeah.
I would immediately assume like something bad happened. Let me check your location.
Yeah, because usually, like, if I'm snapping you first thing in the morning, if I'm at work, you know, because I've snapped you
Yeah.
somewhere at work. So
Yeah.
if I don't answer you for a few hours, you know I'm busy.
Yeah.
But if I'm at home, I'm usually like not too far from my phone. I generally message you back like within the hour or so.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Haley's gone missing, hasn't been on social media all day. Friends are like, "What the French toast?" So they look up her location. Dun dun dun. They find that her phone is at Orlando's apartment.
I knew it. Okay.
Okay. So they go over and they start banging on the door. They're like, let us in. Like, we know Haley's in there. She hasn't been answering us. What'd you do? Blah blah blah. No answer.
Yeah.
No one answers the door. So the friends, being the friends that they are, climb through the window.
I would do it too. I would
Break
do
into
it
the
too.
house. And luckily, as far as I'm aware, they didn't get any charges put against them. So they
Yeah.
break in, they go through the window, they go to Orlando's bedroom, and they find Haley's body sitting on his bed with like a blanket over
That
it
is
and stuff.
so sad. Like, can you imagine like how sad that is for her friends too? And the
Yeah,
amount of guilt they probably feel thinking like, well, if we only acted sooner.
right. So they find Haley. She's laying in the
Uh-huh.
bed.
Mhm.
And so now the police investigation begins.
Okay.
They have to now find Orlando. They have no idea where he is. So they go through the house and they go down to the basement where they find hooks and a tie on a door with blood on the floor and a note
What?
that says he's sorry and he would see his dad soon. Well, fun fact about his dad had passed 5 years prior.
Okay.
So Orlando tried to commit suicide
Yeah.
and it clearly did not work because he's not there.
Yeah.
So after the failed attempt at taking his own life, police then found the security cam footage of both him and Haley going into the house,
Uh-huh.
and then a few hours later, Orlando leaving the house, but now he has bags. He
Yeah.
drove 3 hours to JFK Airport, where he hopped on a plane and left for Nicaragua.
Damn. Okay, question though. I wonder why Haley went with him. Because if she was
See,
already
that's the
having
question, and
problems,
nobody knows, because I guess like they fought, but like she was very friendly with him and stuff. But apparently, like previously, like he has that obsession with her and he just did not want anybody else with her. I'm guessing like someone snapped.
yeah.
We to this day do not know what caused him to choke her.
Yeah. Oh, so that's how she died.
Yep.
Oh.
So which I tell you later on in this story.
Yeah.
So after failing to take his own life,
Yeah.
we see him going to the airport and flying off to Nicaragua. And for several days, Orlando allegedly hid out at his hometown where he grew up, across the street from his church, where his family
Yeah.
attended. And back in Binghamton, where the murder charges were going, Cornwell wasn't sure the Nicaraguan authorities would even be looking for Orlando.
Yeah.
So 4 days after his arrival, Orlando's mother drives Orlando south to the larger city of Leon to get medical attention. And according to the police report, Orlando was brought to the hospital with self-inflicted wounds, implying that he tried to take his own life. I'm assuming again. So it's possible that while he was at the hospital, someone recognized him
Mhm.
from the news, because 48 Hours was doing the story and told the hospital and the police where to find Orlando. So that next day, the police held a press conference informing the world that Orlando was in custody and they put him on display for all to see. So
Mhm.
now the fun begins. They're trying to extradite Orlando.
Mhm.
And Broome County District Attorney Steve Cornwell is trying to take the steps to secure a second-degree murder indictment against him. But because Orlando has dual citizenship and there's no treaty between the United States and Nicaragua, there is no existing requirement for them to extradite him back to the United States. He belongs to
Mm.
Nicaragua. So now it's how do we get him back to the United States to get him charged with second-degree murder?
Mhm.
So then this about a year and a half later, um, Steve Cornwall gets a call from the Department of Justice in Nicaragua, and they said, "Good news, bad news." So he goes, "All right, what's the bad news?" They said they're not going to extradite him, but they're willing to try him in Nicaragua. So he's going to go.
Okay.
He's going
Okay.
to go to court, and he's going to go to trial in Nicaragua.
Which I wonder, like, do you know how the legal system is there? Is it more severe than the one in the United States? Because I know that certain countries have, like, different prisons and different, like, you know,
Yeah. So
like,
let's continue the story, and we will
okay.
get to it.
Oh, okay. 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 You're
So
like, I'm gonna get to it, Morgan. Shut up.
So the entire trial is actually conducted through teleconferencing, where
Okay.
they actually pull witnesses: her mom, her friends, her Kevin, the ex-boyfriend. Everybody gets to testify. And on October 1st, 2019, the trial begins, and the Binghamton police officer and investigator Carl Peters took the judge through all the evidence, including the damning surveillance footage of Haley entering the apartment and never leaving, the note, the alleged suicide attempt, and then Orlando walking through JFK with the obvious signs of injury, him falling and hitting his head. Orlando's defense attorney is trying to argue that due to the influence of alcohol, Orlando was temporarily insane at the time of Haley's murder. And in an effort to prove it, he called the psychiatrist and his first and only witness, and they didn't give two shits about him. They were like, we're not taking the insanity plea. So they get through the whole trial, and after about an hour and a half, because in Nicaragua, they don't have a jury of your peers. It's just a judge. He returns and says that violence against women is not okay. He's advocating for equal rights. Said that Orlando disposed of Haley because he did not want to accept that she had control over herself. And 2 weeks later, he was sentenced to 30 years in prison in Nicaragua. So then jump forward to 2020.
Okay.
They re-attempt to plead insanity. Now, the U.S. has already technically tried Orlando at this point for second-degree murder without him being available. And if he comes back to the U.S., he will be tried again in front of a jury of his peers. So his attorney tries to come back and say, hey, look, he got 30 years in prison in Nicaragua, but the U.S. is out here trying to give him like a second-degree murder charge, which holds a lesser sentence. So they go through the trial again, and the judge says, no, I don't give a shit, basically. And said that the conviction would stand, and he would likely spend the next 30 years in a Maine penitentiary known for its overcrowding. And every day he would be fed a small meal of rice and beans, and if he wants more, his mother will have to deliver the food to the prison gates.
As he should. As you should.
So
listen.
It says if he's ever freed, and if he even tries to step foot on the American soil, the Broome County will arrest him and put him in trial.
I feel so bad for her. She probably had her whole life in front of her. She was going to school being a nurse, and it's really sad. It's really sad.
Well, I kept going through this, like, and this story, like, is what I've given you is very condensed because there's like tons of information, and there's like multiple like news stories about it and whatever. Like, there was a lot going on with it because it was like we don't know what brought her to the house, and then now he is decided but he ran across the country to his other home country, and then it was just insanity of trying to get him put on trial. They didn't know if he was ever going to be brought to justice. But yeah, luckily he got a good judge in Nicaragua, and he's like, no, you're going to get 30 years. I don't care if you're only going to get like 10 in the US, you're going to get 30 here. He got charged with it's called femicide, which is their version of like a domestic homicide, which is like the murder of like a female you're in a relationship with.
Okay.
So he was officially charged with femicide and 30 years in prison.
Okay. He should have deserved like 30 more.
Longer, honestly. Yeah. That's where we're at.
Okay. So this year I really struggled about what story I was going to tell. I mean, how do you possibly top off last year with Jeff the Talking Mongoose? If you have not seen that episode, you should. I think it's on our YouTube channel and definitely on our podcast, where I talked about Jeff, or GF, because it's spelled GEF, the Talking Mongoose, who was extra sassy. But spoiler, you can't top Jeff the Talking Mongoose. I went really back and forth between what I should talk about. Do I keep it spooky? Do I keep it fun? And at one point, I even considered talking about Mothman, who is a cryptid in West Virginia. And somehow, also, if you don't know, in West Virginia, there is a statue of Mothman. And let me just say, his butt is goals. If you've not seen the statue of this butt, and I'm not trying to be like,
go check out Mothman's butt.
Okay, just type in Google Mothman butt.
Because I'm going to be editing this episode, I'm going to like low-key just like throw up Mothman.
Well, actually, Sam, can you please do me a favor? Just look it up real quick. Pause. I want your reaction.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. Live reaction. Me looking at Mothman's butt. Mothman. Oh shit, the abs on him. Holy fuck. Oh, and that's just like creepy shit.
But you gotta look up butt. Mothman butt statue.
Specifically butt. What the hell?
I told you, he got buns of steel.
Literally. What the fuck?
He literally has buns of steels. Anyways, I was bouncing around some ideas to my friends, and I was like, what do I talk about? I don't know. And I mentioned one idea to my friend, and she was like, you should do it because something happened this year with someone related to the case that this is from. It's like somehow related, which I will tell later on how it's related. And she was like, you really, really need to talk about it. I will give you guys a fair warning that this story is really complex. And honestly, every single time I've listened to a new interview, a new podcast, and I even watch a bunch of TV shows and documentaries about this thing, everyone kind of said different things. And also, there's tons of information. When I say there's tons, I mean, I wrote up like 28 pages of notes. I am not going to sit here and talk about like everything and be like, because that'd be 30 minutes. If not, that'll be like 3 hours. And Sam doesn't want to listen to me to ramble for like 3 hours, okay? I'm sure
I
she
don't care about the
doesn't.
rambling. I just don't want to edit 3 hours.
Yes, no one does. So I'm just going to stick with some of the highlights, some of the things that really stuck out to me. But keep in mind, I'm probably going to miss some parts of the story or just not like talk about them. So, grab your candy corn, which, oh my god, I dropped it. Sorry, candy corn, and grab your Harry Potter kisses, and sip some hot chocolate. Which I was gonna make hot chocolate, but I forgot, so I have water and or cider, which I was gonna get, but I did not get thanks to that grocery worker. And get cozy as we dive deep into one of the most infamous hauntings of all time, the Perron family haunting. So the year is 1970. A mother named Carolyn is taking her daughter Andrea to her flute lesson. While waiting for her daughter to get out of taking lessons, she sits down and grabs a couple of magazines, flips through them, doesn't see anything interesting, and then grabs a newspaper. Now, she doesn't really have enough time to read the newspaper, so she just shoves it into her purse and decides to take it home with her, which I'm like, thievery? Why? I guess it's not literally thievery when it's like an older newspaper. But anyway, she takes the newspaper, she goes home, and she puts makes dinner, puts the kids to bed, and she ends up getting a cup of coffee and opens up the newspaper, and the first page that she opens up is of like buildings being sold, and she sees this farmhouse. One is that there are two things that really stand out to Carolyn. One is that this house was built in 1763, and Caroline loved history, and so thought of living in a historical house was really interesting to her. And also, too, it's just there was something about this house that really called to her. It was a farmhouse. It had over 200 acres of land, and she thought that this was going to be the perfect house to raise her daughters in because she grew up in the countryside and she wanted to kind of give that same experience to her kids. So that night at 9:30 at night, she called the number, and was like, I want to buy this house. Now keep in mind, her husband Roger was away because Roger sold jewelry out the back of his car. I guess it's like the 70s, that's what they do. And he wasn't at home. So the next day she goes to the bank, takes out $500 for a down payment, and leaves enough money in their shared bank account to leave behind enough money to buy bread and eggs. And then she goes and buys the house. It's safe to say that Roger was not happy when he came home and realized that Carolyn basically drained their savings account. And he demanded, he's like, get that check back. We are in no situation to get a house at this time.
Mm.
But Caroline was like, no, I really want to move here. And so they actually went and visited this house, which is actually was a farmhouse. They came with a barn. And Roger even agreed that he fell in love with the house. And he thought that it was a perfect house. So in January 1971, Roger and Caroline Perrin, with their 5 daughters, Andrea, Nancy, Christine, Cindy, and April, moved into the farmhouse in Harrison, Rhode Island. It went by many names because obviously it was built in 1736. Some of the names it went through was the Richardson's house, the Arnold's house, the Old Brook farm, but today you probably know it as a different house and a different name. Do you want to guess what the name is called, or do you want me to just tell you?
I feel like I know what the name of this house is. I feel like there's a movie that was made about this house,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't think of it. I know Derek and I went to
This,
see this movie.
oh, you probably did. So
Yeah.
this house is called the Conjuring House,
Yep.
which is made from the movie that came out in 2013, The Conjuring. Dun dun dun. Now, I want to say, firstly, when I have not watched the movie, and actually tried watching the movie last night. Got so scared I slept with the lights on, so not gonna watch that.
That
But
was the first movie that my husband and I went to go see on as a date.
oh, that's cute. Okay, look at it. It's like a full circle.
It's full circle.
But I will say that Andrea, the oldest of the kids, said that the movie, and even the father said the movie was totally incorrect,
Mm-hmm.
and the things that happened in the house that happened in the movie were about, like, I would say they said about 5% true. Like, so this is like a completely different story. Have you actually heard of the true story of
I've
the
never looked
Conjuring
into
House?
it.
Okay, so this is gonna be a doozy. Get ready for this, Sam.
Okay.
So when the parents first came to see the property, they did not feel anything evil. I feel like when you go to a new place, sometimes you get off a bad vibe, but with the parent family, they really didn't feel anything at this farm. They thought it was perfect. Fresh air, big barn, big house, and they loved it. The prior owner, Mr. Kenyon, was an older man who lived there for many years. He actually raised his son there, but his son wanted him to sell because he wanted him to live closer to him, and also thought, like, you're an older man living like a big house kind of further away from family. It makes me feel better if you actually live on my land that the son
Mm-hmm.
had. So keep in mind, Mr. Canyon he didn't really want to leave. But regardless, he was leaving because of his son. And on the day of moving in, there was a lot of chaoticness happening. There was movers, there were people helping out. Anyways, Andrea, who, by the way, Andrea is like the main person who is constantly talking about this situation. She actually wrote 3 books about the Conjuring and what happened in the house. And she also does countless of interviews and docuseries. So she's like one of the main people that constantly talks about this story. So Andrea says that she was helping her dad move in some stuff, and her dad gave her a box that said kitchen on it, and asked her to bring it to the kitchen to her mom. Now, she took the box, was walking into the kitchen, and went through the dining room. And Mr. Kenny was there putting away china because by the time that they were moving in, he was moving out of the house. And he didn't want to go. So he was taking like a little bit of time to pack up stuff and kind of get stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
And so she saw him and she said, "Good morning." And he said, "Good morning." And she went to go turn. As she turned, she saw this figure standing in the corner of the dining room watching Mr. Kenyon pack up his china. And she was like, But as a polite girl, because she was raised to be very polite to adults, she said good morning to them. And the man didn't look at her, completely ignored her. So she decided he's just rude. Like, he's just
Yeah.
rude. So she walks to the kitchen. She puts down the box. She turns to her mom. She goes, "Who's this Mr. Kenyon?" And the mom tells her, like, "No one's with Mr. Kenyon. He's by himself." And she goes, "No, he's not." And the mom goes, "Well, his son's going to come up and get him, but he's like not here yet." And she's like, Andrea's about to argue back when her other sister comes in. And her other sister, Christine, is like, "Hey, do you see this man that's standing in the corner? He didn't say hello to me." And the mom's like, guys, stop. And so eventually another daughter comes in, Nancy, and she's like, hey, this man in the dining room completely disappeared. And the mom thinks that they're just kind of pulling her leg. And
Right.
Carolyn's like, I'm trying to like move in. There's all these people here, all this like, I'm trying to unpack the kitchen, and you're over
Yeah.
there like being dramatic, like
The last thing you
lying.
need is your children making pranks.
Yes. And so she just completely ignored everything. So at the end of the day, Mr. Kenyon has moved all his stuff out, and he's about to hand Roger, the father, the keys to the house. He tells Roger, like, hey, let's go for a walk. And so Roger goes for a walk with him around the farm. And Mr. Kenyon turns to Roger, hands him the keys, and says, for the sake of your family, leave the lights on at night. So Roger thought this was an odd comment, but he assumed it was just a warning because of the fact that the stairs are very steep. There are 5 girls. The girls are sleeping upstairs. So he thought, like, oh, the girls are sleeping upstairs. They probably are like he's like, maybe Mr. Kenyon's afraid of them falling down the stairs
Right.
or whatnot. So he didn't really think about it in a creepy way. Meanwhile, if I was moving into a new house and someone said, for the sake of your family, leave the lights on at night, I would be gone too.
Yeah.
I'd be like, here's your keys back, not for me. I would be gone, okay? Completely gone. So on the very first night there, Andrea was sleeping in a room when there was a knock on her door, and her sister Cindy came in and wanted to sleep with her. And when Andrea asked her, like, why do you want to sleep with me? Don't you want to sleep in your own bed? Cindy says, I keep hearing people talk. I keep hearing people say stuff and talk. And so Andrea was like, well, maybe it's just like our other siblings talking. So she let her sleep with her because Andrea always kind of viewed herself as like the mom. Like, she was the oldest child. She kind of had to take care of her siblings. So she kind of felt like a second mom to her sisters. And so she was immediately like, yeah, come sleep with me. But things started to happen in the house. Caroline's broom would vanish from where she put it, and the kids' toys would move or go missing. April, the youngest, and she was 5 years old, she would place her toys somewheres, and then later on find it somewhere else. And sometimes it would be in like different spots of the house, or even like a different room. And this caused fights between the girls because the girls assumed that like each other were taking their toys and playing with them and not being honest. And Caroline actually had to sit them down and be like, you guys need to share your toys. Like, you guys need to stop fighting, share your toys. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I'm still trying to unpack our life and you're just over here fighting. Well, April, the youngest, being told to share her toys meant something completely different when a little boy showed up in her room. Now, April was playing with her toys when she looked up and she saw a little boy crawling on all fours towards her. He looked up at her and she noticed that he had watery green eyes and a pale face, and he called himself Oliver. Later, she would find out that his full name was Oliver Richardson. April kept this a secret for years, afraid that someone would take her friend away. Now, I do want to say that for her, Oliver was her friend. She viewed Oliver as her friend. He wasn't mean. He wasn't evil. He was her friend to play with. Yeah, they just played and have fun. But more strange things happened. A swarm of flies in the middle of the winter would kind of like infested the house. There was flies everywhere. And no matter what Roger did, the flies would not go away. Until one night, for no reason at all, the flies all of a sudden dropped dead, and there was no flies in the house at all. Like, it was just so random that they were like, we don't even know what caused this. Sometimes the house would smell like rotting meat. Also, there's one time where a lot of times different parts of the house would feel freezing cold, and other parts of the house would feel like the house was always cold. Andrea said no matter what they did, the house was freezing cold, but there was definitely some rooms that felt even colder. Roger brushed everything off. Felt like, you know what? This is a great location. Why are we, like, the flies probably died because, like, there's chemicals or someone sprayed chemicals, and it's probably cold because of the old house. Yeah, so he's like this kind of whatever. Caroline kind of felt like something was off, but didn't really think too much about it. So one day, Caroline was in the kitchen and she kept hearing footsteps upstairs, like someone was banging on the, like running around upstairs. And she was like, oh my God, April, stop. Because all the other girls were in school and Caroline and April were at the house because April wasn't old enough to go to school. And so she was like, oh my God, April, stop running around the house. And she even screamed like, April, stop. And all of a sudden she hears a voice behind her. Mom, I'm right here. Feeling like someone was in the house, Caroline ran upstairs to see if there was someone upstairs, and there was no one there.
You don't run upstairs. You run out the house.
Yes, you do.
You go, bye.
Bye. You go, I'm gone. Bye. Anyways, but she found no one there. Sorry. Later on, she was in the shower and her daughter came and knocked on the door and said, hey, one of our neighbors is here. She brought a cake. Do you want to come downstairs and we can all eat it? And all the kids were excited because obviously it is cake. And so Carolyn got out of the shower, went into a room, which is basically like they explained it was like a big kind of closet. And they called it the warm room because it was right next to the chimney. And that's where they would go and get changed because it would be warm there because it's like, we all know getting changed and out of the shower when it's freezing cold is not a fun experience. So obviously, like they would get changed next to the chimney where it's warm. So while she was up there getting changed, she walks in and she kind of looks over and she sees a wooden coat hanger kind of like moving. And this is one of the coat hangers that Mr. Kenyon accidentally left behind. And all of a sudden, the coat hanger flies off the wall and starts brutally beating her up to the point where she starts screaming. And because she's screaming, her kids and the neighbor runs upstairs and they see her getting viciously attacked by this hanger. She has cut marks, bruises all over her chest, all over her face until suddenly it stops. Now the neighbor basically sees that she's okay. And also keep in mind, she dropped the towel too while she was getting attacked. So her kids, like, not only saw her get attacked, but also saw her, like, naked. And, like, that is a whole nother side of, like, traumatic situation. Trauma. Yeah. And so the neighbor checked to see that she was okay and then was like, I'm going to go back home. But before she left and before she excused herself, she said, just so you know, Mr. Kenyon never turned the lights off in here. And she left and she never went back to the house. I
don't blame her. Bye.
Yeah, I would be like, goodbye, no thank you. So when Roger came home from the work trip, Caroline told him what happened and showed him the bruises, the cuts, and Roger like kind of brushed it off, did not want to hear about it. He was like, I just got home from traveling the United States, selling my jewelry out of my trunk, my car, and you are like complaining that you got hurt by a coat hanger. It makes no sense. I don't understand it. And anyways, because of the fact that he brushed off her mother, Andrea said that a lot of the other siblings did not feel like they could talk to their parents about what they were going through. Andrea said that she thought that her father couldn't accept that something was happening because if he did admit it, that it was real, it meant that it was something that he couldn't control. It was something that he couldn't really like protect them from. So he decided instead of like being like, oh yeah, it's haunted, he was like, I'm gonna gaslight you. And so he like was like, this is not real. On the other hand, there were more spirits that the girls were open to. And they even thought that these spirits were their friends. There was this ghost that they first saw when they first came in. His name was Manny, and he would basically just come and he would just stare at you and see what you were doing, but he didn't really bother them. He just wanted to like, he was like interested in what you're doing. There was also the Baker boys, which was, I heard that it was boys, but then I also heard it was like a father and son, and they would act like you weren't there. They would stare into a wall as if it was a window, and a lot of people think that maybe it's like past energy, and it's just like they just don't know these other ghosts exist, or that they exist, and they're just like kind of living a time loop. That's what a lot of people think it is. Sorry. But let me just say that some of the family members definitely had it rough. Cindy and Caroline had it rough out of everyone in the house. Cindy would constantly wake up to her bed being moved, sometimes her bed being shooken. One time she was almost brutally dragged out of her bed to the basement, which I would run away. I don't care. But Andrea recalls a terrifying moment when she woke up from a nightmare. Or was it a nightmare? Anyways, she woke up and she had paralyzation where she couldn't move, which is something I kind of have all the time. And she blinked her eyes and she realized that even though she couldn't move, she was no longer in her bed. She was standing in her mom's bedroom, her parents' bedroom. And she was standing there and she saw that her mom was like had fear in her eyes. And as Andrea looked at her, she looked over and she noticed this woman dressed in like this old like timely dress standing in her mother's dresser. And the more that Andrea looks at her, the more she realizes different features. Not only does this woman have like really matted hair, but is covered in cobwebs. She has black coal eyes, like her eyes are not there. She has slits for nose. Her lips are thin, and she has yellowishy, like jagged teeth. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part is the fact that the woman's the woman's neck is crooked, as if it's like that, like worse than that, I guess. And as she's looking at it, she hears her mom gasping, and the woman starts slowly floating forward, reaching out her hand. And as she reaches out her hand, Andrea realizes that she has no feet or no hands. Instead, her arms are actually branches, and her feet are gone as she's basically glides towards her mom is trying to wake up Roger, her husband. She's smacking him, he's not waking up. She proceeds to like kind of try to climb off the like climb like to like the headboard to kind of get away from this creature or this ghost that's coming towards her. She eventually kind of starts grabbing Roger's black hair because he had like curly black hair, grabbed his hair and started yanking it like that's trying to be like, wake up. And he still won't wake up. And keep in mind, his back is turned to her. So she can't even like see his face. And she thought that he was dead. She was like, he is dead. Like this creature killed my husband.
Right.
And he's not waking up. So eventually she gets all the way, like her butt is almost against the wall. Like she's almost seeing him. And she's kicking Roger now. She's like, wake up! At this point, girl, I would just run out of the bed. I would just like go. I'd be like, you're dead. I'd be like, okay, I'm sorry. But eventually she starts in her head, she goes, God, please, God. And the woman disappears and Andrea like shoots out of bed thinking that it's a nightmare. And she's like, that's such a weird nightmare. Oh my God. But she ends up falling back to sleep. Oh, also, I forgot to mention this part, but when she was trying to wake up Roger, when Caroline was trying to wake up Roger, she pulled off the quilt and she noticed that Roger has scratches all over his back and they were all red, and it looked as if an animal scratched him up. And so that was also traumatizing. So Andrea waking up was like, that was a really bad nightmare. So glad it wasn't real. And so she falls back to sleep, which I'm like, girl, how do you fall back to sleep? But she said that she fell back to sleep. She slept about half an hour and then she woke up, went downstairs to get a glass of water because her throat felt raw, like she was screaming, or like that she was like going, like, I don't know, that she felt like she was screaming in her dream and that suddenly her throat felt raw. So she went downstairs to go grab a glass of water, and when she was there, she saw her mom sitting there. Her mom had this red notebook that she would like write in, and her mom was like drawing something, and also drinking a cup of coffee. And she like reached down, grabbed a cup of coffee from her mom, and was like, oh, I want to have some, and drank it, and then looked down at the notebook and almost dropped the coffee and realized that the mom was drawing the woman. She asked her mom, like, did you see that? Like, is that real? Because I saw that. And the mom was like, it was. And that was like the first time that they ever really talked about it.
Mm.
which is crazy to think about. Like, they hadn't even really discussed it in the family. They just kind of like lived their life. They weren't even like, and keep in mind, I think Andrea said like it seems like things were happening like all the time, but it'd be like out of the 10 years they lived there,
Yeah.
she said like you can do like 24 hours was like all the haunted stuff. So it was like every couple of days something would happen, or every other day something would happen, but it wouldn't be like
Right.
huge things. So keep that in mind. And so they all like Andrea or Caroline asks Andrea to grab the siblings to go downstairs, and they sit down there and they start talking about everything they've been through. Cindy talks about how when they first moved in they played hide and seek and she got trapped in a box. No, thank you. Cindy also talks about how she heard voices in the walls, and they told her there were 7 dead soldiers in the walls. Ew. Cindy also talked about how a bent neck lady told her that she loved her and wanted her to join her.
No. No. Run
Ugh.
away. Run
I don't like it.
away.
I don't like it. Anyways, Caroline was desperate for answers, and she decided to research the house. She found the name of Bathsheba Sherman. Um, Now, Bathsheba Sherman was the neighbor to the Arnolds who lived in the house, or I guess Richards, but we're just going to say the Arnolds because I kept hearing Arnold slash Richards. But
Mm.
a woman accused of this woman was accused of killing a child or killing a baby. Basically, it was said that this woman was taking care of an infant, and when the infant died, a doctor went there and noticed that there was a needle in the base of the baby's skull. And because of this, she was basically accused of being a witch, and that the townspeople said that she would kill people or kill babies in order to become more useful and to get power. She had 4 children. 3 of them did pass away, unfortunately, and 1 of them did live. Now, I don't really believe if maybe the spirit was Bathsheba, but listen, back in the 1700s, I think children were more apt to, unfortunately, not live.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, bacteria was a thing. People weren't
that's
washing their hands.
also
Like,
like, yeah, and people were giving out cyanide pills and be like, "Oh, take some cocaine to get better.
Well,
You
I
have
mean,
a cold, cocaine."
even in like the 1940s, 1950s, like cocaine was still like Coca Cola.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
So
like, I mean, we weren't making good health decisions here, people.
Also, on top of that, no vaccines, kids are getting sick. Like, so I
Yeah.
think that she just had really bad luck. And also,
Probably.
if she was a witch, then she would have not been buried in a cemetery, which people, I guess, have always been going to her grave and vandalizing it, which I don't understand why. But in the movies, she's depicted as a child killing devil worshiper. Meanwhile, I think that history just kind of didn't, like, she was
Yeah.
just a woman. She was just a woman trying to survive. But another name kept coming up, which was Mrs. John Arnold, who had died of suicide in the barn at 93 years old, possibly being the crooked neck woman. Now, the more Caroline researched, the worse the activity became. Her room caught fire one night, only for it to go out right away and never leave any burn marks. Like everything was like back to normal. It was like kind of like she kind of saw in her head, and all of a sudden she blinked, and it was all gone. A chalkboard that Andrea used all the time because she wanted to be a teacher. That just scared the shit out of me.
That would be my child.
Yes. Andrea wanted to be a teacher, so her parents bought her a little chalkboard to play teacher with. And one day, like every single time they would write on it, the chalkboard would be erased, and sometimes it would just be like a hand mark, like when you swipe it real quick, it would be like
Mhm.
that. So she thought like, oh, like she got mad about it because she was like, listen, I'm trying to like play teacher with my siblings and you're ruining my experience. So she told the ghost one day, like, can you just stop? Like, please just stop. Anyways, the next day they walked outside to the shed where they had it. since the weather was nice outside, and only to realize that her chalkboard was thrown against the shed wall and shattered into pieces.
Listen, Ghostie's got anger issues.
Ghosties, I'd be also really upset too, because I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to help you, and you're being really mean, and you're just like not getting it.
Rude,
so rude. Anyways, obviously things are going worse, and one of the things that happened next was that Caroline was sleeping with Roger in bed, and all of a sudden she got sleep paralyzation where she felt like she couldn't move, and she looked up, and at the like the back of her bed, or like I guess the front of her bed, were men holding torches and speaking weird languages. And she kind of said that she thought they were putting a curse on her. And as they're shouting out this chant, she sees the bent neck woman come out of the corner of her eye and go to Roger and kiss him. Ugh, no, I bet her breath stunk.
No, I'm sure.
And so she then looks at the woman. The woman tells her, and I do apologize. I had this in my notes, but I don't know where it went. I feel like I accidentally deleted it. But basically, the woman says, like, I basically was the mistress of this house. I'm always going to be the mistress of the house, and you're basically nothing. You're basically gloom. And I think that the huge thing with this spirit, this evil spirit, was that she was upset because of the fact that she wanted to be the mistress of the house. And she was the mistress of the house. And because Caroline was there, Caroline kind of ruined it. And it even went to the fact that Roger, one day after him and Caroline got into a fight, he was in the pantry, and he asked Caroline, like, oh, do you want to get a cup of coffee with me? And Caroline said, no, I'm gonna, like, let me go back to bed. Anyways, while he was, like, in the pantry getting coffee, he felt a, like, woman's hand, like, caress his back, and when he turned around expecting Caroline, there was no one there. So Roger always thought that this ghost liked him, if you know what I mean, liked him.
Yeah.
And so he liked him. So keep that in mind, that they think that this ghost was basically a ghost that wanted to be the head of the house. And while this is all happening, Caroline's not doing good. Andrea said that she basically looked like she aged 30 years. She was starting to get gray hair. She lost a lot of weight. She just looked not like her mother. And on top of that, like, her mom, Andrea said that her mom was like a supermodel. And when she saw her, her mom looked so different, like completely different. You couldn't even say that she looked 30 years old. And some people think that a ghost was draining her energy. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. It could have easily been the stress. But eventually a paranormal group called Pyro showed up to investigate the house. Now, I heard, see, this is where I get a little confused, because Andrea said in one interview, oh, a phone floated in the air, and next thing we knew, a paranormal group called Pyro showed up, and it was the ghost calling them to come investigate the house, which I'm like, why are they calling to investigate them? Like, oh, and then in another like docuseries, Caroline called them. So I don't know what's true.
Somebody called them.
Someone called them. Anyways, a paranormal group called Pyro showed up. As soon as they began investigating, chaos broke out because of the fact that this man named Keith Richardson, no, Keith, this man named Keith decided to write a cross on the bedroom windows upstairs. Why would he do that? I am not sure, but he said, why don't you just do this? This would help. And then proceeded to draw a cross on the bedroom windows. And the ghosties did not like that. And they proceeded to slam the bedroom windows and doors open, even pretty much hit one of the kids, one of the siblings. So they left. They actually got thrown down the stairs, which basically shows you that they definitely were not welcome by any means. So, oh, the guy's name was Keith Johnson, by the way. So anyways, Keith Johnson was going to an event at school where the Warrens were, and Ed and Lorraine, and if you don't recognize their name, the Warrens, their famous husband and wife team of paranormal investigators from Connecticut. Ed Warren was a self-taught demonologist, and Lorraine Warren claimed to be a medium. They founded the New England Society for Psychic Research in 1952. I heard really conflicting things from the family and from other interviews and podcasts saying that Keith, Keith reached out to them. And I also heard that, like, a family friend reached out to them. And then I also heard, like, they just showed up. Mm-hmm. So somehow they were connected and they were told about this house. And so the night before Halloween, the Warrens came. And because they believed that the veil between the living and the dead were the most thinnest on Halloween Eve, Andrea said that it didn't matter. You could have came anytime because the ghosts are happening all the time. Like she said, it did not matter. But as Lorraine walked into the house, she was overwhelmed with this feeling of like dread and said there was some spirit here. She walked into the kitchen, grabbed the oven, grabbed her head, and said, "I feel a spirit. Her name is Bathsheba." And this is how Bathsheba got kind of pulled into the mess, by the way, even more. So over a year, the Warrens would come and they would kind of look and see what was happening. Caroline, was also going through it. Once again, she was aging, losing weight. Her hair was graying. And now, it didn't take long for Lorraine to basically tell the Pearsons that they needed to have a seance. She's like, "What's going to fix this? A seance. Let's call the ghosts and ask them what was going on." The Warrens came into the house with a priest, another medium, and a camera, which, fun fact, none of the footage has been found. As soon as the seance started, the mother started to kind of curl in on herself and get smaller and smaller. Roger said that later on he thought that Carolyn was going to break a bone because of she was going like this and she was curling in on herself, and she kept on speaking weird languages and they did not know what she was saying. She kept making unhuman sounds to the point where they thought that their mother was possessed. Mm-hmm. Roger pointed out later on that he thought he didn't know what was happening because he did not want the seance. He was very much against it. And then when it started, he was like, "What the hell is happening?" Mm. So, then suddenly her chair went flying with Caroline on it. She flew 20 feet into the parlor and smacked her head on the floor, and everything went quiet. Andrea and her father recall thinking that their mother died. Roger screamed at the Warrens to leave and told them that they killed her. They killed his wife. And as Caroline laid on the floor half dead, her children ran to her and screamed for her to come back. The Warrens left with the medium, not even checking if she was alive, by the way. And as Caroline laid there, she slowly regained consciousness. Mm-hmm. She said that what kept her alive was the fact that she kept hearing her children, and she said it took everything that took her to basically come back to life, to basically wake up again. Now, I will say that the Warrens came back a couple months later, and keep in mind, everything was more dramatic after this. The Warrens made everything worse. The activity had kind of gone up more, and it was worse. She said that they opened a door that they shouldn't have opened, and they let in spirits that they shouldn't have let in. And things were more chaotic. Now, the Warrens eventually came back a couple months later just to check if Caroline was Carolyn was real. Breathing. Yeah, "Oh, you're still alive? What?" Anyways, they basically asked Caroline "Oh, can we come in?" And Caroline said, "Nope, you're not allowed back in my house. I want you gone." Caroline said, "I want my book back," because the red book that she was sketching in, Carolyn basically gave it to the Warrens to copy down her notes. And the Warrens took it and stole it and never gave it back to the kids, never gave it back to the mom, said this is part of my case file and it's probably going to be sold to someone and it's not going to be you. You might be able to buy it back, but we don't think so. Pretty much like a dick about it. Anyways, Andrea was very upset about it because she's like, this is like something for my mom and I wanted it, and they like obviously I can't get it. So eventually they move out. It's been 10 years, and Roger or Caroline tells Roger, like, I need to move. If she said, if I make it, if I have to go to another winter in this house, I will die. I will not live. Roger, obviously wanting his life to live and wanting his wife safe, moved them to a farm in Georgia. A couple years later, Lorraine called asking if Carolyn would give permission to turn their case into a movie or TV show or a book. And she said, no, thank you. And Lorraine said, shouldn't you ask your husband before you make a rash decision? And so the same day, Caroline went to go do laundry. A 200-pound door fell onto her, dislocating her shoulder and gave her a concussion. Caroline took the sign that they should not go back to the house. That was a sign to her, like, do not, no. And when Lorraine called again, she said, don't ever call me again. And yeah, so I do want to say that while doing research, there was many things that happened to this family, from them trying to contact the ghost with a Ouija board and summoning a wolf lion, to black shadows floating around the room, to black shadows where one girl ran into it and she was sick for 2 days. But I do want to say that some things just don't add up. There's multiple interviews where things were just didn't sum up right. Such as in an interview, it was like Andrea said, oh, we've never played hide and seek. But in another interview, she said, oh, yeah, we played hide and seek in the house all the time. And then also, there's no recording of anyone dying in the barn. There's no recording of a little girl dying in the barn or in the farm or anything like that. Not only that, but whenever anyone asks Andrea why they stayed, she tells them, like, it was their house and they loved it there, and that she was devastated when they moved away, and that she didn't understand why her mom and father sold the house. And it comes off very much of like, why, I don't understand why they didn't want to move. Like I also, like, as someone who's lived in a haunted house before, because my house was haunted, not as haunted as the Conjuring house, but it was haunted. And yeah, it was my house, I loved it. But if my house was physically dragging me out of bed, physically hurting me, shoving me, trying to drag me into the basement, I would be gone, Sam. I would leave.
Right.
But like, even when they sold the farm to the newer owners, Andrea was so upset, and her sister actually decided, like, oh, why don't I just like stay at the house and be your, like, your house sitter. And so she stayed there for a couple months, even by herself in the house. I don't know. Some of the stories, it just doesn't add up. But that's for you to decide whether or not you believe it or not. I will say, definitely, like, there's definitely a lot more to the story that I left out. But that is the story of the Conjuring House, aka the Pearson family case.
Done.
Oh, also, I also forgot that they were also plagued by bats too.
Just throwing that one in there.
Just throwing that one in there. Anyways, so if you guys are curious, we are going to be reviewing the second book of Abigail Owen's novel, which is called Things God Breaks. We are so excited to dive deep into this spicy, dark, well, I don't really call it dark romance, but spicy Greek mythology themed story following Hades and our lucky little girl named Lara, and who may be in a really tough pickle. Anyways, go check out our last episode in which we read the first one, and also go check out the interview where we did it with Abigail Owen. That was such a fun episode. And next week we're going to be talking about Things God Breaks. So yeah, if you guys like this episode, liked our stories, liked my floppy bat ears, and also like the fact that my makeup stayed on, please remember to rate us anywhere you can rate us, because it does help push our podcast out there. Also, remember to check out our YouTube channel, which maybe you're watching us on our YouTube channel. Hi. Yeah, check us out anywhere else you can find a podcast. And Sam will tell you about the rest of our socials.
So if you think we're absolutely hilarious, which fun fact, my friends, we are. We do have a TikTok. It is just More Page Podcast for all the pictures, videos, stories, anything else we decide to post. We do have an Instagram. It is just More Page Official. So go ahead and check us out on there. Come slide into our DMs. We love talking to you all, and we will talk to you all next Sunday.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye.